What's up, guys? This is Kephas. Welcome back to WoW Classic, everyone. We are here in Duskwood again, Darkshire, heading down along the scary road that Stitches could pop up on at any time. Once again, we are starting on the east side, moving back over to the west side. Had a couple quests to turn in, so we're going to follow the route down. I've got 3 quests to turn in, actually, and we have some things that we can fight along the way. So that's what we're going to do, and we are going to pray that we don't get ambushed by the scary, scary monster known as Stitches. It's happened to me almost every time I've gone along this road. He shows up, so I'm a little bit apprehensive, afraid he might just pop up and try to take me out. So we're going to fight our way along and just grind some XP, and yeah, let's see how it goes. So yeah, we're still going to be in Duskwood for a little bit longer. There's plenty, well, there's sort of plenty of things to do here, kind of. It just depends, but a lot of it just involves killing things anyway. So we are almost level 26, so we're making some pretty decent progress. It's really funny because in, like, if you I don't know if you watch both WoW retail leveling and WoW classic leveling, but in WoW retail leveling, I literally, because of the double XP buff going on and everything else that I have, I literally went through, I think, like Legion in like 2 episodes. So I got like 7 levels, or 10 levels, I should say, in like 2 or 3 episodes. It was pretty crazy. Turn the grocery corner. Okay, we can do that later. Yeah, so like I got all that experience, leveled up so fast, and then here we are in Classic, and I'd say like maybe get a level every 2 or 3 episodes in Classic, which is really funny actually. But it's just, hey, it's how it goes right now. Of course, it's, to be fair, a lot of that's because in retail there is a double XP buff, so it's like, I mean, it's not exactly fair to compare the two, but it's still really funny. So yeah, still leveling up here, still having fun with Classic, still, enjoying the game a lot. I have no idea what's going on, like, in terms of the end game with this game. I've heard a lot of crazy stories about the scarab stuff. I don't even know what half of that means, because I wasn't around back then, so I never did all the scarab stuff. And I'm obviously not leveled up now. I'm way too much of a casual to ever experience the end game of this game when it happens. That's for sure. I'm always going to be like a year behind, which is fine. I mean, it's cool. I like this game. I like the leveling part of this game, and I think, like, it's funny because, like, I kind of touched on it a little bit, like talking about all the, just the people getting, mad at stuff and all this and that in the last couple episodes. But, like, it's funny to me how there's still, like, a sort of a debate sometimes between people who like Classic and people who like retail. And I guess, like, it's funny because there are so many different perspectives to have about these games. So, like, I'm sure there are a lot of people that like Classic's end game, but I've noticed that a lot of people that like Classic like the whole game. Man, everything here is dead. People are just killing everything. It's crazy. We can skin these, though. People like the whole thing. Like, they like the whole package. The leveling, the class design, or, well, at least, like, the progression, like doing class quests and that sort of thing. People like all of that. They like, like getting arrows for hunters, taming pets, unlocking your demons through doing quests, like all that stuff. And then, like, the end game, like the 40-man raids, the novelty of that, there's just a lot of different things. Whereas people in retail who like retail, it seems like for the most part that is people that they're more focused on the end game experience, and that maybe that's not the case. I would actually like to know, like, where do you fit in on that? Like, are you, like, if you like Classic, are you like an end game player? Are you like a person who just appreciates everything? This road is very scary because I'm afraid Stitch is going to pop up any second. It really scares me. Or are you someone who you like Classic because you like the whole package, like the whole experience, even if it's not perfect, even if it's rough around the edges, which it obviously is, but you still prefer, you still prefer Classic because of the whole experience that you get. You like everything that comes with Classic. Oh, look at that. We leveled up by exploring. We are now level 26. That's awesome. I'd like to know, because, like, it's one of those things where one of the things one thing that annoys me and something that I try not to do, like I like to try to understand where people are coming from, but a lot of times, like if you say I prefer classic to retail, like people will immediately begin to psychoanalyze you. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. People who prefer retail to classic, people will immediately begin to psychoanalyze them. It's like, you don't have to, you just, like, this is what I like because, you know, it's like a lot of times people will immediately say, you like classic because of the nostalgia. And it's like, but I'm playing it now. Like, don't you see? Like, I'm not reminiscing. I'm literally playing the game right now, right this very moment. You know, like, not that there isn't nostalgia that, like, I mean, I just finished. I'm finishing up. You know, I will be finishing up Ocarina of Time soon, and it's been fun playing through that game again. And while I have felt like I got attacked by 3 things and I'm totally running away. While I did feel a lot of nostalgia for that, I was still enjoying the game for what it was, you know, in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a lot of fun. Doing the Spirit Temple was like one of the most fun things I feel like I've done, you know, playing games on YouTube. Like, it just is fun. It is good. It's not that it was good or that it gives me memories. I'm literally making memories with it now, and that's kind of the same with classic. And it's like there's a lot of people that don't seem to be able to understand that. Like, it's not that I'm enjoying it because I used to like it. I'm still enjoying it now. You know, just like, you know, people who like retail, there's a lot of legitimate reasons to. I'm trying so hard to drink that potion and the game will not let me. There are a lot of legitimate reasons to enjoy retail. I mean, there really are. I mean, like, for example, when I'm playing my orc, he looks goofy, right? In classic. I would love it if classic had the updated graphics. Absolutely, 110%, no questions. Obviously, I mean, there might be some people that prefer the old models, but, you know, to each their own, I guess. But I love the newer models that they get, like all the characters. They look way better. I miss having the yellow outlines. God, I was talking about this actually in the retail video, I think, recently at least, but whenever there's a quest or an item or something that I can interact with, there's like a yellow outline around it in retail, and as a visually impaired person, that is amazing. I would love to have that. You know, like, that would be awesome. But, you know, so like there are legitimate reasons to, and obviously if you're more of a person who doesn't really care about the leveling experience, or you just like things to be streamlined so that you can focus on the content that you enjoy, I mean, there are legitimate reasons to prefer retail over classic. But I also think that that's kind of true the other way around. There's obviously reasons to prefer classic over retail. Man, I can't kill anything. For example, retail is so dead right now, I wouldn't have to fight over mobs. Haha, that was a joke. Literally, like, everything here is dying, so I'm just going to skin. It's fine. You know, but, like, you know, so, like, it's definitely understandable. And I talk about this all the time, and I think it's, you know, I like to try to see both sides, and I like to try to encourage people to not fight things that are way stronger than them. You run away. And Voidwalker, follow me. This place might be... It's a combination of it being, like, these guys are too strong, and also they're all being killed by things, so we're just going to keep on moving. We'll come back to this later. Also, my Voidwalker's gone now. Hopefully it reimbursed my stone. It did. Thank you, game. But yeah, so, like, it's, you know, I've probably mentioned, like, the classic versus retail thing a lot. I think it's something to talk about because it keeps coming up, but it's just funny to me that it's still something that people, like, will argue about. Like, what really gets me about a lot of it is, you know, when it comes to people's opinions or tastes, it's funny how people will present things as if it's objective, like what they're coming from an objective point of view. Like, objectively, retail is more fun than classic. Like, that's not objective. You can't be objective about what is fun because fun is a subjective thing. You can't be objective about that, you know. But people will always try their best, you know, like, objectively, you know, and that's the part of the problem is, like, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with, you know, with the mentality in the first place. I mean, right up to when, you know, we were told, you know, you think you do, but you don't. It's like you're trying to be objective about something that you can't be objective about, and that's, you know, what someone's going to enjoy, a person's feelings and a person's interests. That's not something that you can be objective about. You can sit here all day and be like, Well, this is better. This is what works, you know, and it doesn't work for me. It's kind of like, okay, this is a funny story, okay, but it's kind of like, you know, I don't know, like, I mean, I'm a former minister, so I'm very well versed in, you know, the Bible and Bible stories, but, like, I always think about in the Bible where David is going to fight Goliath, and so the King Saul is like, here, wear my armor. So he gives David all this heavy armor, right? Like everything's so heavy and it's like weighing him down, you know. But David's used to fighting his own way. He fought with a sling. He's like, I you know, this is nice and all, and I understand that this is what I should be doing because I'm fighting a guy, you know, in battle. But this isn't what this isn't how I fight. This is going to weigh me down, you know. I can't do that. So he, you know, he's like, I respectfully decline, and he uses his sling, and that's how he slays Goliath. You know, it's like sometimes people are like, you know, objectively, and I guess in that case, it would objectively be better for you to wear the armor, obviously, because armor is going to protect you. But sometimes what works for some people doesn't work for everybody else. That's kind of the point, right? So just because, you know, heavy armor and spears and shields might work for you, or maybe retail, maybe that works for you, it doesn't work for everybody else. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And same goes for Classic. There are a lot of goons in there. This quest might be impossible for me to do at this moment because these things are so strong. And there's another. Oh, thank you, dude. Thank you, Mr. Thank you. I really appreciate your help. That's. Oh crap! My Voidwalker died. I might have to try to fear this guy. Can you go away? Can you maybe run? Thank you. That might have been a mistake, though. We will see. I want to, you know what? I want to take this opportunity and drink this flask and help this guy out. I'm sorry, dude. Oh, crap. Oh, things went really poorly. Okay, that was a mistake. Let's get back to our body. Okay, so I'm just trying to look and see exactly where this quest is at because I kind of feel bad. I got that guy killed, and of course I got myself killed. This is the second time I've gotten myself killed trying to do this stupid quest. So, looks like it's back. There's a dirt mound, right? The patch of dirt. There it is. So that's what I need. There's a guy right there, and there's a guy right here. Ooh, there's two guys here. Here's the problem, though. I don't have a soul stone. This poor guy's about to die again. I'm going to try. Ooh, there's wolves back here. Good lord, this is crazy. I didn't need to go inside the room, which is where I thought I had to go. Let's go ahead and respawn here. Eat and drink. Oh, crud. Okay, I'm already getting attacked again. This is bad times. You, run away. Yeah, we gotta get out of here. I don't know what to do, because I don't have a pet. So I don't have any stones now. I really quickly lost all of my stones. So I'm going to scare them guys away. Them guys. And then we're going to go up here. Let's get my mining showing up again, because I died. I actually forgot that I hadn't had that on. Okay, so this is going to be tricky now, because like I said, I don't have any stones. So what I'm going to try to do is first off put this armor back on. Maybe I can get one from one of these guys. The only thing is they're level 24, so that could be a problem. So what we're going to do, we're going to put our dots on him, and then we're going to send him packing. And then we're going to fire away. Well, in theory. Yeah, no. Get our... Oh, cool. We're going to level up our wand a little bit, so that's nice. Now. Will this work? He may be... Yeah. Oh, well, this might work. Come on. Oh, did I get it? No, I didn't. See, what happens is I stop casting it, and then it goes away right when he dies. And I'm like, bruh, uncool. But we'll keep trying this thing anyways. So I'll kill some black wolves until I get a stone, and then hopefully we can actually get over there and get that thing. I have to get back there, but the thing is, like I said, there's like 3 or 4 guys there, so it's a little bit tricky. So what were we talking about? I don't know. Good lord. We were talking about, oh yeah, what's right for some and what's not right for the others. So like sometimes, you know, like you just have to understand, like you have to be able to... It's a very important skill that a lot of people don't have. You have to learn to look at things from the perspective of other people. And that's something that isn't always easy to do. It's not easy for anyone to do, but it's a good skill to learn because it can help you. Like, if you can understand where people are coming from, then it can help a lot in sort of finding common ground, and then also, like, accepting people's, like, opinions. Like, if you don't understand it, like, you can try to, like, show reason in situations like that. Like, you know, so like for example, it would have been very beneficial for Blizzard when they've made certain decisions like cell phone games or their initial reaction to Classic, to sort of look at things from a perspective that isn't their own. Like, for example, I didn't get it. We've talked about many times about, like, you know, how J. Allen Brack responded to the question of, you know, will you ever bring Classic servers in? And, you know, he was looking at it from the perspective of retail is an improvement over Classic. Look at all the things we have improved. Look at all the bugs that existed then. Look at all of that. And he looked at it from that perspective, and his mistake and his arrogance blinded him from looking at things from a different perspective at the time. And that's why it was a very unpopular opinion that he had, because there were so many people that had a different perspective. And that's oftentimes the mistake that we have. We not only do we make the mistake of not looking at our other perspectives, we assume that everyone, or at the very least the vast majority of people, think like us. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes there may be a lot of people that think like you, but there are also lots of people that don't think like you. And when that's the case, it's important, very useful, in fact, to look at how other people think and the perspective that other people might actually have. Because then you can, you know, I mean, we could have had Classic a whole lot sooner if they had been able to do that. And also, there might be a lot less arguing about nonsensical things about which video game is better. Like, it's a pretty dumb thing to argue about, to be honest. Most things are dumb to argue about, but that's definitely one of them, because better is dependent on who's talking. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as they say. You know, so it's a very important skill to have. And I think that, like, you know, I can say definitively now that, like, in terms of the leveling experience, like, it was a question before, and I've said this so many times, and I guess I'd like to reiterate things I say, because I like to clearly explain my position, but, like, I really do enjoy the leveling experience in Classic. There is something about this game that is still fun to me. There really is. And, like, you know, when I play, I really enjoy playing Final Fantasy 14. As kind of my other one. I don't actually play retail as my other MMO anymore. I play, like, I would do retail and Classic, and now I do Final Fantasy and Classic, because I feel like Final Fantasy is kind of like an in-between. Like, it's an in-between of Classic and retail as what exists right now. Like, I feel like, oh god, we're gonna walk on the bridge because we gotta go back over to the graveyard. I feel like Final Fantasy 14 is a perfect in-between of Classic and retail, because it has a lot of modernized features. Even like a duty finder, which, you know, that might be a deal breaker for some, but there are a lot of opportunities to build a community, and there's also, like, there's a lot of game there. There's a lot of world exploring game there, and there's a lot of story, you know, and a lot of modern takes on things, but it feels like an older school MMO. It's like a modern MMO for sure that feels modern, but it also has like some of the, like, I guess the hooks or the itches of you're trying to scratch, like that old school MMO, and I feel like Final Fantasy does a good job of that. Whereas, like, retail still very much feels like if I was playing World of Warcraft and I selected arcade mode, that's honestly what retail feels like to me. It's not that there isn't game there, and it's not that there isn't, like, some good. Ooh, was that Stitches? No, it's just a spider. Okay, just a spider. There's definitely, like, obviously, like, if you do the end game, you know, progression stuff like mythics and all the harder, you know, raids and dungeons, there's a lot of fun to be had there for sure if that's your thing. But, you know, the problem is that that's not everybody, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, is, like, not everybody wants to do that type of content, you know, and if there isn't, and that's not what you're doing, there's not much else other than a very streamlined game, you know what I mean? And so that's why, again, you talk about perspectives, is that's why a lot of people are like, I don't like Classic, or I don't like retail, versus the other people who do only want to do that stuff. They want to get to end game as fast as possible and clear all the content and do everything at the end of the game, and they don't like Classic as much because Classic, you know, it's rough around the edges. It's not streamlined. You got to spend a long time just leveling up. That partially is the progression, you know. And so it's like, it's kind of the same. Like, the cool thing about Final Fantasy, 14, is there are lots of things to do. There are lots of different different appeals, I mean, because whether you're just going to be you can leveling up crafting, which you can do in WoW, but it's a little bit different there. Like you can do like this glamour system, which is kind of like transmog, but again, like there's just a lot of different things that you can do, which there are in WoW as well. You could make that argument for sure, but there's more to unlock. I don't know how to explain it. It just depends, I guess. But there's just different stuff. You know what I mean? And so, like, I think that really kind of sums up what a lot of people have issue with when it comes to WoW, is that let's just pretend for a moment that a lot of people aren't into the end game progression, like they want something more, something else, or like they like the story, but there's like they like to do a certain style of gameplay. Maybe people just enjoy doing stuff out in the world, for example, you know what I mean, and there's not as much of a progression system involved with that part of the game. So so like that's where a lot of people get hung up, like, oh man, like what do I do when I'm not raiding? What do I do when I'm not doing the hard dungeons? That's a good question. And so, like, that's the cool thing about Classic is you can be leveling for a long time, so that's never going to be a problem. You're just leveling, you're slowly exploring and getting stronger, and that feels like the game in and of itself. And I think that's like, I can't say that I like Classic better for the class designs or for the end game experience, because for one, I can't say that about Classic designs, because the class designs are kind of, I mean, with mages you literally press one button. I mean, literally with this warlock, I use 3 dots and then I just start wanding. That's all I do. It's not that part of it that makes it fun. It's the fact that it's this leveling experience, and like just this like the class, like looking forward to unlocking things and going back to town and managing money in a different way and managing my gear in a different way and having all of those things matter a lot more and being more careful, and all of that goes into a different feeling and a different experience entirely, and I think that's what counts. That's what goes a long way, so that's why a lot of people are like, yeah, like this is what I like about this. This is why I enjoy this. So like, again, I feel like I've probably talked about this stuff a whole lot. So like if I'm, if I've repeated, like, I mean, I've been doing this series now for over half a year, I think. So if you listen to all these at once, God help you. But if I repeat myself a lot, I do apologize. But just know that I've been doing this for a while now, and so like I still have a lot of the same feelings, and like a lot of the times it's just me reacting to what I see online, like whether it's on forums or Reddit or Facebook, wherever I'm seeing things where I see people kind of rehash a lot of the same arguments and sentiments and that kind of stuff. Like, it's like, yeah, but look at it from this perspective. That's oftentimes what that gets me, is like a lot of people just don't seem to want to do that. So if they did, I think people would have an easier time understanding it. You know what I mean? And that, like I said, that kind of goes for the people that make it as well. And I think that if Blizzard could figure out what it is about Classic that people like, harness that without taking away from what people like about retail, I think they could make a very good experience in WoW. I really do. I think that, like, if they could find a way to do that, which that might be nearly impossible because of just the way the games are so different, and in terms of like what their appeal is to people, in terms of like some people like the complexity of leveling, whereas other people like the streamline of leveling. I don't know how you make both of those people happy. I really don't. Like, it's a questionable, like, how do you do that exactly? Oops, let me see. Did I find something? I thought I clicked on something. Oh well. But that's I guess that's the challenge. But I think that if you can at least start to understand, why do people like this? What is it about this that made people want to move from, retail current game to Classic? And I think the biggest mistake that you can do, the biggest mistake that people make, is they assume that it's purely based on nostalgia. That's the biggest mistake that people make, because it's not that. It's really not, and that's a big disservice to not only what Classic is and the strengths of it, but also to the people that enjoy it. It's a very big disservice to people to just chalk it up to nostalgia. It's I don't think it's dishonest. I think that's how some people think, and they just they refuse to look, or they just can't see it in a different way because of how they think. But it is definitely a disservice and a discredit to people for what, for their tastes and interests and what they enjoy. And that goes, like I said, that goes for Blizzard as well, because if they just assume that, yeah, we're making this and nostalgia is very popular, they're powerful, right? It just is. And that's all it takes. It's like, no, dude, there's more to it than just the fact that it's nostalgia. Like, that's, like, there are a lot of games, like, I'm trying to think of a good example. I mean, like, a lot of the HD remakes and stuff like that, the initial appeal might be nostalgia, but then you start playing the game and it either holds up or it doesn't. Like, for example, when they re-released Crash, the Crash trilogy, people played through it again. Like, oh my god, these games are still fun. These games are still great. And now they're upgraded with a modern look, which makes them even better. And that works a lot of times. So it's like, there might be a bit of nostalgia factor in there, but there's also the reality that these Crash games are amazing. And that works because a lot of the newer Crash games were not amazing. They were terrible, right? And that also goes why they re-released the Spyro trilogy. Same thing. Yeah, there's nostalgia for the old games, and that does sell, and that does get people interested. But once they start playing them again, they're awesome. And they remind people of what made those games good and why people like Spyro, whereas the newer games, not so much. They kind of failed to recapture that. And so you have situations like that. Same can be true for the Zelda HD remakes. I feel like Wind Waker got a lot of a resurgence when they re-released the HD version on the Wii U. Unfortunately, they released it on the Wii U. I'm hoping that they release it on the Switch because, again, that would give it an opportunity to be given to a larger audience. Because it's a good game, and it still is a good game. They did a few things to make it a little bit better, but it's a good game. And I like, a lot of people, when it first came out, they didn't give it the credit it deserves, and it was amazing for that game to get a re-release because then it was able to get the credit that it deserved, And so that's like, a lot of times, nostalgia is a factor, but it may not always be as much of a factor as you think. It may actually just be that the game is good and it will always be good. It may be outdated at times, like like graphically, but because then there's the other side of it. Like, you can't, like, a lot of people might think the old Zelda games are now outdated because of Breath of the Wild. That's not true. Just like Link to the Past isn't outdated because of Ocarina. They're different. You know what I mean? They're different kinds of games. And there's a reason to want to play all of them. Because Ocarina of Time is a big departure from Link to the Past, just like Breath of the Wild is a big departure from Ocarina of Time. I actually think that my next Zelda game on YouTube might actually be Breath of the Wild, because, my first Zelda game was A Link to the Past, and then it was Ocarina of Time. Significantly different. The next significant change would definitely be Breath of the Wild, because that's where they completely changed up how the game is. And I think that, it's a good thing to kind of look at it from that perspective. It's not always the same. It's not always that the newer game is better or that the newer game always replaces the older one. And that's the thing. Sometimes the older one, either, if it's not, it may not always be better, but it's different enough that you can enjoy it for what it is. And I think that's oftentimes the case for Classic. I think Classic is different enough from retail that, it deserves its place still. But at the same time, just like with Breath of the Wild, I think that, that Nintendo, when they make Breath of the Wild 2, hopefully they can take what people like about Breath of the Wild, and then they can take a look at, we're fine. They can take a look at what did people like about Ocarina of Time, and then they can make a game, like, bring back dungeons, temples. People like that aspect of it. Bring back items, certain items that people liked in Ocarina. Bring those back because people like those. That might actually go a long, long way into helping people who maybe were And like they liked Breath of the Wild, but maybe they felt a little disconnected. Oh crap, these guys keep spawning. Okay, we're gonna run. Problems. You know, they maybe felt a little disconnected from Breath of the Wild because it was too much of a departure. You know, it felt like a different game entirely. And I think that there's some criticisms for that. But I also think, for me, I liked Breath of the Wild. And a lot of people did. And I think it's a good jump forward into refreshing the Zelda series. So there's room for improvement. There's room for modernizing. But there's also room and times for remembering the past. And I think that's the most important thing, is understanding what's good about the old and what's good about the new and making the two work. That's my thoughts on the classic versus retail debate, and that's where I stand, and that's where I'm probably always going to stand. There is room for both, and if you can really master both, you could probably make something even better for the next, or for the future of WoW. So anyways, that's what I thought. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and if you'd like, you can support this channel on Patreon. Links to all of this can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.